Hello everyone, welcome back to the final video I'm making before launch. We are getting incredibly close. I'm recording this literally the day before, within 24 hours of launch in fact. It is going to be available to play tomorrow, and most importantly, it's already available for pre-download. So if you haven't done it already, you can go on Steam. I assume this is maybe the case for Epic Games, and probably I think as well for mobile on App Store or Google Play and the Apple Store. You can preload the game. So if you want to, you can do that right now. It'll probably save you some time. And again, less than 24 hours before launch. So we are very, very close. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. But the other thing I want to talk about is what classes. The other thing I want to talk about is what classes are you all going to play? And also, what classes am I going to play? And it was definitely something that was hard for me because I am typically actually a person who I think likes to specialize in certain characters, but at least when it came to Final Fantasy XIV, I said I wasn't going to play every class, and then I ended up at least trying out and playing every class to level 100. Doesn't mean I continued playing them, but I did get every single class to level 100. And so it kind of became a thing of I just like to have knowledge on every single class, at least to an extent, right? Whether it's just like foundations or something like that. Doesn't mean I'm an expert at all the classes by any means. I don't think I am. I think people who are like actually like hardcore specialist on a single class or character or whatever, those people are going to know not only like the general rotation, but also like how to maximize it in every given boss fight and stuff like that. Where like I would maybe know the rotation, but I wouldn't necessarily know what that looks like in a dungeon or in a fight, right? Like that type of stuff would be more for the people who actually specialize in it. But for my main character that I plan on making, or my main really, right? I kind of want to see if I can do 4 to maybe 3 classes. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out yet. But my main is probably going to be Lifebind Spec, which is funny because for people who maybe watch my videos in CBT, I was playing Smite Spec before. And I just want to try Lifebind Spec because I didn't really get to play it at all last time. And typically I actually do kind of like to be like the most healer-ish healer of all of them, but we'll see. And also, I mean, I still like Smite, I think, so it's totally possible that I might end up swapping, but we'll see. But the other thing as well that I'm looking into potentially trying is Beat Performer Concerto style on my main, as I think that would also be a very valuable class and kind of, again, fits that buff niche that I really like to do. I do like to be able to buff my party, so it definitely makes sense as a potential support healer hybrid there. And then for Frost Mage, if I do have Lifebind, I might try and see if I can make it work with Frostbeam, because there is an amount of stat sharing there, which, again, funny because in CBT there were also videos of me playing Icicle Spec, but that's only because it worked a little bit better with Smite Spec. But Frostbeam I think actually works quite a bit more easier with the Lifebind Spec because, again, their stats are I think a little bit closer and a little bit more manageable than what you get with the Icicle Spec. And then the other one, which might end up being my main because I do want to play a role that is desired, is to play Shield Knight Recovery Spec. I like the healing aspect and kind of just the overall tankiness of this compared to the Shield Spec, which I still think that they should change this name because, I'm sorry, but you call it Shield Spec, but the special attack changes from the Shield Bash. Like, this is a Shield Bash, this is Shield Spec, you don't have Shield Bash anymore. In fact, the only shield skill you really have is this one, Radiance. That's it, whereas we have Shield Bash, we have, I mean, this has a shield icon on it, but it doesn't use a shield, but we also have Shield Toss. So I don't know, I feel like this should have been called, like, the Light Barrier, or whatever, Light Sword, what is it called? Is it this one? Yeah, Light Forged Spec or something like that, or Light Forged Spec, I don't know, something else. I don't know why you would call it Shield Spec, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But that's a tangent for another time. Planning on playing Recovery Spec, okay? So those are the 4 that I plan on playing on my main. Doesn't mean that I won't try some of the other classes, possibly on another character. I have another character that I do plan on probably doing like Dissonance Beat Performer on. I do plan on trying out Moonstrike Stormblade, and I do plan on having a character that will do my Earth Fort Heavy Guardian, which I did try in CBT because I thought that was really fun. And then Wind Knight, I want to play Skyward style. I'm gonna figure out how to make that work on another character. It probably won't be on my main, but we shall see. And then Marksman, it's probably the class I am least interested in playing, but if I do play it, probably be Falconry. But in general, again, Shield Knight, Recovery Spec, Lifebind, Verdant Oracle, Concerto Style Beat Performer, and Frostbeam, Frost Mage on my main. Now, with that said, I'm interested in seeing kind of what your guys' preferred classes are, what you all plan to do in the comments below. I'm very curious as to what classes you're interested in. If you are interested in trying to make multi-classing work, again, the recommendation, especially for the first couple of weeks, is just focus on one class. Like, don't do what I'm doing. In fact, I probably, even though I said that I want to play 4 classes, I probably am not going to touch Frost Mage for the first 2 weeks, if I'm being honest. I probably am just going to touch like Shield Knight, Verdant Oracle, and maybe a Beat Performer. But I might even save Beat Performer for later because I think some of the stuff works better late game than early game. So, I might not touch some of the other ones until later anyway. Now, one of the things I did want to share in terms of the multi-classing for people who are interested is, originally this is my second time recording this video, I went through like a bunch of different classes that I thought shared stats and were maybe decent, but I realized it was a little bit long and I don't really think it was super necessary, so I'm just going to show one example instead, which is Smite Spec and Dissonance are really seemingly quite similar in terms of the stats that they want. So I think that they might be the best, or the easiest for multi-classing is these two support classes. So if you plan on going Smite Spec, you could probably Dissonance quite easily. Again, you can kind of see here looking at the screen, look at this, 40% luck, 30% crit, 15% versatility. Let's look at Dissonance. 40% luck, so that's the same, 35% crit, that's only a little bit different, and then 10% versatility, also only a little bit different. The priority of the stats and even the types of stats are all the same. The only difference is just 5% on the crit and versatility between the two. And I honestly can't imagine that, like, I don't know, Smite having 35% crit and 10% versatility is that much worse. Or even Dissonance having only 30% crit and 15% versatility. Like, I can't imagine it's that much worse for either or. So, and their legendary affixes are a little bit different as well, as you can see here, because melee damage bonus is more useful for Dissonance. But like, other than that, I mean, magic attack, intellect, those are the best. And even the gems that they use are the exact same. So like, I don't know, they seem like they probably are quite easy to use together. So if you ever did want to multi-spec a healer, or really multi-spec any class, or sorry, multi-class any 2 classes, these two seem to be the easiest from what I've seen. Again, all of this is subject to change, and I do think multi-classing will get easier over time because people will start to hit more stat thresholds, right? Where like, if you hit 40% luck and you don't really need to even build more luck, or like you get diminishing returns, so it's just not worth it to build more, you're going to start building into crit. And then maybe if your crit starts hitting diminishing returns and it's not worth it anymore, then you start investing in versatility. And if this ever hits diminishing returns, maybe you'll start investing into haste or something like that, right? Maybe you'll do haste more instead, right? Although I think in this case they actually get haste from the raid gear to a similar degree that I think they get mastery from the raid gear, so you don't have to really worry about that once the raid gear comes out. But either way, right, a lot of stats will become more and more available, and especially the raid gear switches between which class you have equipped, so that also helps a little bit there. So in general, I imagine multi-classing will probably be maybe not fully solved and not necessarily fully viable, but more viable in the future than it is now. I don't expect it to be viable, probably not even until maybe at some point next year, if we're lucky, and if things actually change in that direction. We'll have to see what the devs do. But either way, that was kind of all I wanted to talk about, all I wanted to share. Again, interested in seeing what you guys are planning on playing, and kind of shared what I'm interested in playing. And again, if you haven't already, preload is available now. Unfortunately, still no character creator during preload, but it's whatever. I think nowadays, or by now, we can figure out that that's just not happening. Even if maybe that was intended, it's not happening now. So yeah, preload. Interested in hearing about what classes you're going to play. And again, check out the Maxroll website. Very, very important guides. Click here for that game plan for weeks 1 through 4. This will be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly helpful. Or the beginner's guide, right? Or the gear progression guide, or the general gear guide, or life skills guide. All this stuff. Useful. Currencies, dailies, weeklies, battle imagines if you want to know what that is, skill systems, general talent tree stuff. All of this on this website. So check it out when you can. And again, thank you for watching. I will see you in game. See ya.